Hi, everybody. Welcome. It's Christina Quick, the Tarot Biz Mentor. Great to see you guys. Welcome back to Monday Magic in Marketing podcast video cast. I'm really glad to see you guys today. Let me know if you can hear and see me okay. Today, we are going to be continuing on in our series. Let's see. So, the last couple weeks, we've been really focusing on the energetics of expanding and being able to sustain your business long term as you reach these new income levels, as you reach these new networking levels, right? So, we've been really focusing on how to manage expansion, right? Like that is the key thing that I really wanted to focus on in this season is sustaining and maintaining expansion because it is such a difficult thing to do as you start to grow your business and then you start to realize, oh no, I might need some help in certain areas and that's what this second season really aims to do. So let me just get the live posted in a couple different places. If you are here, let me know where you're listening from. Let me know what you are up to this week. So this last weekend we went to it was Yule, so it was the winter solstice, and me and Susie Zern, and I met up with some other people. But Saturday we kind of partied all weekend. Saturday we did. I went to a crafting party and we made cute little Yule goats. I posted those in the Discord if you haven't seen them. They're super super cute. And then we went out to eat, and then yesterday we started putting up like the Christmas tree and all that kind of stuff. So it was a really good time. So I'm curious if you guys start celebrated Yule. Do you guys celebrate Yule, or are you guys like strictly a Christmas type of person? I really I'll celebrate all of it. I like all of it. I just like being festive. And actually, for the longest time in my life, I it was really, really difficult for me to get into a festive mood. And I'm sure a lot of you can kind of relate to that. But really, once I started working on my mindset around the holidays, then things got a lot easier. But again, it's not easy for everybody. So last week, we started talking about how to become like a visionary, right? It was actually 2 weeks ago. By the way, let me look at my calendar and tell you guys when the next time I'm going to be in it. So we are in the holidays, so it's kind of a crazy time right now. So this is going to be episode 6, and then we're going to take winter break. We're going to be gone for a little while, and that's so everybody has a chance to kind of catch up on the podcast, get their stuff done that they want to get done for the rest of the year. Because yes, we still have a whole week left. You still have a whole week left where you can make at least a couple $1,000s if you really, really wanted to. So let's see, we are going to be back on the 6th. So January 6th is when we will resume with episode 7. So we're going to take a couple week break after this and give everybody a chance to kind of just catch up and spend time with their families and enjoy the holidays. And then we'll meet back up on the 6th. So today we are talking about launching, right? And so I asked in the Discord earlier if anybody had actually gone through the steps to launch their business, and not a lot of people replied to that. And I was like, okay, so that might be something I might have to put together, just like a little introduction to launching mini workshop. I could do something like that. A lot of the courses that I have, the programs in the academy, they're all based around launching, right? And so I figured what I could do is for the first like little bit, we could talk about today what is a launch? How do you know if you've launched? Because that was one of the things that most people said is I don't know. I don't know if I've launched yet or not. And I'm like, okay, so you'll definitely know if you've launched because launching is it's an incredible experience. But it's also a lot of work. And so if you have done it before, you will surely know. And if you don't know, well, then you probably haven't done like an official launch. So let's see, how many launches have I done? I've probably done over 20 launches. Now, when you think about launching your business, some of the key things that might come to mind are like getting a payment processor, figuring out your website, doing a little bit of work around like audience demographics, ideal clients who you want to attract in, and then setting up like your key offers, right? Like figuring out like how to set up listings, either whether that's in Etsy or on your own website. It doesn't really matter these days. Excuse me, got a little bit of a tickle in my throat, but it doesn't really matter these days because there's so like a couple of years back, it really mattered that you have, like, your own website, right? Like, that was the key thing. These days, it's not as important because we have, like, the whole landscape of websites in general has changed a lot. Websites are a lot more competitive these days. Most website most website builders these days are pretty much all the same. They're all in competition with one another. So, if you set up on, say, like Squarespace, or you set up on Shopify or WordPress, or things like in that of that nature, it's pretty much all the same. That's pretty much like having your own website. So, you might also be thinking about like, okay, how am I going to reach my audience? How am I going to announce it? Most people when they're new to marketing, they think that basically announcing your business is launching it. And that is part of the launch, but that's really just the foundational aspects of the things that need to be set up in order to launch your business. So setting up like your website, setting up like your key offers and all that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, that's only like pre-launch stuff. That's not really launching. When it comes to launching, we wanna think about basically client attraction, right? So how not only are we going to announce our business, announce that it's open, that sort of thing, but how are we going to get that word out, right? "Hey, Ashley, good to see you. Merry Yule to you too." But how are we going to get that word out? How are we going to get, people taking notice? Because I'm sure if you've been doing this for a little while, you realize that yeah, you open up your business, but then, like, you still have to drive people to it, and it's that audience, driving the audience to your business, which is so difficult for a lot of people. Unfortunately, that is something that I really specialize and enjoy doing. And so launching, is a lot more than just opening your business, right? Opening your business means that you're ready for business, but going through a launch, there's some things that are really involved in that. And I'd like to talk about those kind of generally just for a second, because the truth is there's a million ways to launch, and that's where it can get kind of confusing, right? Because everybody has their launch strategy, right? And it depends on like what kind of business model you're running. So if you are focusing on selling out your one-on-one spots, you might launch a different way than trying to sell a membership site. If you're selling services versus digital products, you might want to launch it a different way. What I have done very successfully over the last decade is figure out a launch strategy that really works for everybody. It works for every single kind of business. And so after like 20 launches, 20 plus launches, 20 quarters. So yeah, that's like 5 years of consistent launching. So pull back just a second. Whenever I think of launching a business, I always think of like a 90-day strategy, right? For 1 quarter of the year, for a 3-month period. The reason why is because it's very well known that algorithm on the internet itself as an entity doesn't really so if you don't know how search engines work, let me backtrack to that real quickly. So how search engines work is there's little programs that these programmers write up, and they basically go out and they crawl, they go through data, they data mine information on the internet, and what they do is they catalog it, they archive it, they build up, algorithms based on, like, the relevancy towards search terms and things like that. So, basically, you think of them like little gremlins that kinda go into websites, and they kind of, like, uh pull apart the different aspects of a website, and basically what they do is compartmentalize that information into different categories, and that magical formula is their algorithm, right? Which is proprietary information. They don't really share that. But what is true across the board for every single search engine out there and every single website like Etsy or like these websites, Fiverr, like these gig websites, right? That YouTube, Instagram, all of these websites that catalog data is that no matter what the algorithm like formula is for each of these, 90 days tends to be the across the board how long it takes for those bots, those programs to assimilate your information, put it into the search engine and make it actually findable, right? And so the landscape also of search engines has changed. When we think of search engines, we think of things like Google or Yahoo or Bing or things like that. But also today, social medias like Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, they also have their own search engine within that. So anytime you've opened up Facebook and you go to search for something, or you open up Instagram and you go to search for something, you're pinging a search engine. So no matter whether that search engine is embedded into Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, or it's Google, or it's Bing, or it's Yahoo, 90 days. So when you go to launch your business, 90 days is really the minimum amount of time that you really want to spend launching your business. Now, how do you contribute to the search engines in a way that will get you actually found? Because the new client attraction, that is the most important part to launching a business, right? It's how you're getting people in the door, how they tend to find you. Because if you're just posting on your Facebook that your business is now open, or maybe a couple groups, and you're just telling like kind of like your friends and family, you have to kind of think about what's the client journey? How are these people actually getting in the door to us? How are they finding us, right? And so what we have to do during a launch is come up with what's called a campaign. A campaign is a series of actions, a series of pieces of content that we are going to create in order to flood, more or less flood the algorithm with information about our business so that the algorithm will be like, oh, you're really relevant to what this person is searching. So, say for example, I'm a love and relationship coach, and I specialize in love and relationship, psychic, and tarot readings, and also coaching, right? And there's someone out there on the internet, and they're searching for someone like me. They're searching for someone that can help them with a psychic reading about their relationship, or they're out there looking for someone to help them in whatever aspect they want help in their relationship, whether that's going through a divorce, or getting back into dating after the divorce. Remember, we've talked about the different segments of your demographics and what stage of their journey, what crossroads that they're kind of in, and how you have to understand that as a marketer, as someone who's going to market your business, so that you can effectively communicate with those people, right? You can like put out content that's going to be relevant to what those people are searching for. Okay. Are you guys with me right now? So, so you have that aspect of it, all right? You have to kind of understand your demographic, and then you have to think, okay, my ideal client, how do they like to access content that speaks to them about possibly purchasing services or tarot readings or courses, digital assets from me, right? And so my people primarily are learners. My business model has a lot to do with setting up an online academy, which is like basically the foundation of my business is my academy where I sell programs and mini workshops, and like different ways I package up programs and things like that, depending on how deep or how you want to go into it. How much of a guided experience do you like? So on my academy, I have trainings upwards of $400. I have trainings of $11, $20, and it's a big range. So I have a lot of different programs in there. So it's like, how am I supposed to actually get people to take notice of that? Well, so then it comes to a matter of I need to be able to create the type of content that my people are looking for. So since I'm an educator, my people are typically traditionally going to be on YouTube and they're going to be learners, people that like to sit down, absorb long form content. And usually my people are people that like to put on podcasts and like go about their day. Like some of you are listening right now and you're logged into the psychic hotlines waiting for the phone call. Or you're working on your own writing of some sort, or you're in Canva doing some graphic design right now, right? Or you're eating lunch or you're feeding your kids, right? So my people are multitaskers. And so they love long form content because they can just play it and then they can listen to it and they can go about their business and do whatever they're doing. And they get, access to that content. Now, that works for me because I'm an educator and my people are learners. But if you're not an educator and you're more of a tarot reader that likes to um, be involved more in like the entertaining aspect of it, where you love to log on and do free readings for people all day, or you love to log on and put on some kind of show or something like that, well, your people are probably not going to be long form YouTube people. Your people are probably going to be TikTok people. Your people are probably going to be, uh, you know, uh, people that are in Facebook groups that you can go live in and you can do free readings for people in that aspect of it, right? So when you go to sit down and think about how do people who want my services access content. That is one of the biggest parts of a launch that thought goes into it, and that's how you kind of develop that campaign as you go forward. And I recommend putting out at least 12 pieces, so one piece per week during a launch where it's value-based content and the content really truly needs to be evergreen. Because when you go to shift out of being in constant launch mode, right? Where you're constantly launching because the point of launching is to get new clients. The point of launching is to sell a new program that you've created or to launch a specific product. Okay. So maybe you're a tarot and oracle deck card creator and maybe you're launching a new tarot or oracle card deck. And so you have to create the content around that, right? So, how do people access content who are interested in finding new tarot and oracle card decks? So as a marketer, that becomes really like how you kind of have to think about it. And it's not just as easy as just kind of like showing up and doing whatever. That can work for, immediately, and it can also work to a certain extent, but there's always a cap on what, doing things like that. And so one of the key things when you wanna shift into getting out of having to launch all the time, like, so for example, I'm out of launching right now. I haven't launched a new program in how long has it been? Since last August, I think it was. That's when I launched Luxurious Lightwork, and that's when I did the year-long program. So that was the last time I launched, was last August. And so since or maybe it was yeah, I think that's right. And so I have been out of launch mode, meaning that I haven't been, creating a lot of new programs or anything like that. So you might notice my YouTube, I'm not really putting up a lot of YouTube content. But what I am doing is I'm maintaining this podcast. And so that's one of the key things too, is figuring out what are some alternatives that I can do outside of launching, continuing to launch. But the very first thing that like we have to really consider is the fact that all of the content moving forward has to be evergreen in nature. So, what does that mean? What does having evergreen content actually mean? So, I'll give you guys some examples of what evergreen content isn't, because that's, I think, easier to explain. And then I'll give you some examples of how to shift that content to make it into evergreen content. Okay. So I'll address this because this is one of the biggest ones that you guys do all the time is those free readings, right? Like free tarot scopes, like once a month, or I see you guys doing like reading of the week or tarot card of the day and things like that. Well, that's all well and good. And so there might be some reasons why you might be putting out content like that, right? One reason is that it probably got some good traction engagement in the past. but engagement doesn't always translate to sales, and that's a big, big, big difference is, like, how many people you have on your list, how many, people are those actually looking to pay for services, and how many of those are actually looking to pay for the services that you actually offer, right? And so engagement doesn't always equal sales. And so so when I tell people that, like, I understand that those tarot scopes and the cards of the week, cards of the day, like, I understand that those get a lot of engagement. But if they're not leading to sales because they're coming for the free info and you're not working it, you're not hustling it, right? Getting them in the door to actually paying for services, then it's not marketing. It's not. It's just you sitting online doing a whole bunch of free work for nothing, right? And so you'll get to that you'll get to that point where you kind of realize that. And so how can you make those more evergreen? How can you make those more valuable? So the reason why they're not valuable is because they have an expiration date, right? So the tarot card of the day. Well, is that content relevant or and valuable tomorrow? Is it? It's not, is it? The tarot cards of the week, is that relevant to the week after that? No, it's not. How about tarot cards of the month? No, it's not, right? Maybe tarot card of the year will get you a whole year of engagement and possible sales, but those things aren't they have an expiration date. They expire. The key to good marketing and the key to having good content that actually gets you new clients all the time is to ensure that people have a reason to return to your content, that it has a watchability score way past the 1 week mark, the 1 month mark. Why would you ever create a piece of content that has a shelf life of 1 day? Why would you do that? Right? Because if you shift to doing, say, like, instead of tarot card of the week or tarot card of the month or whatever tarot card of the day, and instead shift to doing an evergreen style where it's more question based, like instead of the tarot, the 3 card reading of the week, shift that to something else like 3 cards about your life purpose, right? Or pick one of these 3 cards, and each one of these 3 cards has a specific message about your life purpose. So that 2 years from now, when someone is in YouTube or um, Instagram or anything like that, then at that point they're typing in, "What is my life purpose?" Right? To the algorithm. And then at that point, they find your video that says, "Reading that will tell you, pick a card, reading that will tell you about your life purpose," right? So that few minutes that you spent creating that video, instead of allowing that to have a shelf life, an expiration date of 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, it's out there still working for you 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 7 years from now, 12 years from now. Hi, Mindy. Mindy says on TikTok, they're called timeless readings. Yeah. So shifting into that sort of content where it's outside of time, it lives within liminal space, right? Where you create that content once and it continues to keep working for you. And that's how you consistently get new clients. Okay, so what happens, you get to a point where you're launch, 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 right? And you keep going through launches like I did for like literally 5 years. And you get to the point where you're like, I don't want to launch anymore, and I don't want to create anything really new. So what do I have to do at that point? Well, so what I like to do at this point is I like to take a step back from how often I'm creating content, and instead of, like, say, so you have different kinds of content you can create, and it goes along with different types of, like, time, um uh, frequencies in between which you really want to post them. So say, for example, if you only have time to post once per month, it might make more sense to do the batch working like we were talking about, film all of those videos and then schedule them to drip feed out. Or it may be better for you to just set up a podcast that you also upload to YouTube, right? A video cast like I do, where you come online and you teach a workshop for an hour and then put that out on social media, right? And then if you do that enough over the period of 1 year, 2 years, you can take all of that old content, package it up into a digital asset, and sell it on your website, right? So that's really how I built up what I call my new client generation engine, my generation engine. That's really how I built up that vortex is I would drop this really high value content on YouTube, let it get me leads and build up clients and build up people coming into the Facebook group, and which is now the Discord, right? And then I would take it down and then package it up and sell it. And then I'd say, okay, I'm going to do a different series this time. And so just the beginning of this year, what I did is a lot of my old content that I've had up for like a couple years, a lot of my longer videos and higher value content, I took it all off and I put it all up on the academy for a price. And so then what I started doing is this podcast in replacement of that, right? And so these are 1 hour segments, and I put a boundary on it to where, okay, I'm only going to do 12 episodes in a season. Why is it 12 episodes? Because that's a launch, that's a 90-day launch, right? So instead of launching several times a year now, I'm only launching once a year. And so the rest of my time is mine. And so how do I keep getting people to my old content too, right? Ads. And ads is that's where it becomes really smart to do ads. Ads in the beginning is not really smart unless you're putting it towards evergreen content that's focused on lead generation. So that could be an ad going to your opt-in page. That could be an ad going to your booking page. That could be an ad going to each of your podcast episodes, right? That's the smart way to use ads on social media. Now, when you're thinking about Etsy ads and psychic hotline ads, those things are their own thing. So just put those to the side for a moment. But when it comes to actually boosting your YouTube videos or boosting a video on Facebook or Instagram or boosting a post, right? They call boost it, then that's the smart way to go about doing it. And it's really only those three things, either a booking page, and that could be your calendar, but I wouldn't even do that. I would do a sales page for a signature session, just a one-off session, right? Or a special package that you're running, something along that, and keep that going in perpetuality. And also figure out, okay, and realize how many people do I need to sell this to in order to at least break even on that ad, right? So that's kind of how I look at it. And typically speaking, I tend to start with, and I really love ads nowadays because ads used to be so scary because I don't know if you guys remember this, but ads used to be so scary because there was no, like, ability to set, like, a limit of what you'll pay on it, and no ability to set a limit. Like, you would just be like, "Okay, I'm gonna start with, like, $20," and then they're like, "$20 a day?" And you're like, "No, just $20," right? And so it's slowly changed over time to where now ads are so easy because now you can pick like a schedule of how long you want that to go on. You can set an end date. You can set a maximum spend rate, and that's why they got in trouble because of the legislation because they were basically robbing people blind. Like you wouldn't know how much an ad campaign would cost. So I understand why a lot of you like. I understand why people are um, hesitant about doing ads because 'cause you're, like, thinking about ads probably 5, 6 years ago, but ads now, so easy to do, and so what I like to do is I'll usually put, like, 25 bucks on a video. Now that might be too much, even for some people, and that's okay. So what I recommend if you're gonna do ads, right, to get new people, to get your content seen by new people, right? instead of constantly launching new content, constantly launching new programs, and constantly launching new readings and all that kind of stuff, right? Let's just say you just want to go status quo. And I think that's so underrated, just maintaining your business and not being in constant launch mode, I think is super underrated. It's not sexy, nobody really likes to talk about it because it's basically just you just go into like, "Okay, this is where I'm at," you're not looking necessarily to keep growing in your business, you're just looking to kinda be able to step away and to be able to just allow those sales to come in without you having to constantly go out there and, like, try to fish for clients, right? And that's what we do by creating new content and launching new things. Um, so when you go to do ads, in that regard, I recommend there's a couple different things that you really wanna consider when you go to do ads, and these are gonna be things that will keep you in check from because you have to think ads can really be addictive, right? Ads can be like gambling, and you can a lot of people think that the the reason they're not making money is because they're not using ads, and that's just simply not true. You can definitely dump a bunch of money on ads and completely blow your budget and waste your money and get absolutely nothing from it. So, again, if you're going to do ads, it needs to be an opt in page, it needs to be a booking or buy now page, or it needs to be a piece of evergreen content, right? Or, yeah, a piece of evergreen content. Those are the three key areas that I would recommend for doing ads on anything. I wouldn't do ads for literally anything else, right? Unless I'm working very closely with your launch strategy and I know your business back to front, then I can, come up with more creative ways. But just generally speaking, those are the three key areas. Now, when you go to turn those on, it depends on like what specific platform that you're working with. So on YouTube, you might have a little bit of a different like ability to set certain limits, time frames, etc., as opposed to say on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or something like that. So the platform does matter, and I personally feel like YouTube ads are where it's at. I feel like Facebook ads and Instagram ads are so expensive nowadays. It's not worth running them unless that you are sending people to a booking or a buy now page. Like you're sending people to a straight up hard sale pitch to purchase something. And I feel like that's the only way that those kind of ads really make sense for most people's budget. It's, just getting people to go to a sales page and then just letting them decide if they want to buy that now or not, right? And that I think would be the best use. On YouTube, you're going to, in my opinion, get the most bang for your buck when it comes to new client generation. New client generation, for me, YouTube is king. And that just is because YouTube is still like it's like 15 years old at this point, 16 years old, I think. And at this point, it's still largely untouched as far as being kind of mm, okay. So how do I say this? So Facebook is very money hungry. And the way that Facebook makes money primarily is through the sale of their ads, right? They want, or now they have the blue check mark. You know what I'm saying? So verified is what it's called. Verified, I think. And so now they have that. And I was looking at it because I just recently got the blue check mark. I took that off of my personal account because my personal Facebook because I really didn't feel like it did very much. I had it for like a year. I really didn't feel like it did very much for me. Um, and it didn't, I didn't really like it feel like it, and it was like $15 a month, right? And I didn't feel like it really did much for me because they were saying it was going to be something like it'll help you get views, it's going to help you get seen, it's going to help push your stuff to the top. And I really saw none of that. That didn't really happen for me. However, YouTube is more or less still the same, and it's still consistently the same. And so that's why I say if you're gonna go ads, you might go YouTube. And you might find some creative ways to advertise your business and put out value-based content, highly value-based. And I mean value as in, yes, valuable to the person listening, but high value also to the algorithm, right? And so looking at it from that perspective, I think it can be very overwhelming and it can feel like there's a lot of things to consider. But then that's why you have me, right? And so I'm an expert on all of these individual things. And I know where something is going to do better than another platform and things of that nature. So when you are going to run ads, here's what I recommend. When you are looking for the best times to do ads, right now is a amazing time to do ads. When people have time off of work and they're at home and they're on social media, that's the best time to do ads. You're going to pay more of a premium rate during the holidays. You're also going to pay a little bit more of a premium rate on weekends, but that's when I recommend putting your ads on. Don't do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I mean, people do it the days that people are on social media, have time to actually. I mean, if you run your ads on Mondays, and there's nobody online on Mondays, then what are you then what are you doing, right? So you kind of have to think always, 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 Saturdays, Sundays, Fridays, Thursday evenings. Those are always a good time to turn your ads on. And it's really convenient because now you can go into your ad manager and you can be like, turn this one on, turn this one off, turn this one on, turn this one off. So on Thursday evening, what I do is I go in there because I look at, okay, which ones do I want to boost this weekend? And that's what I do. I'm never running ads to everything all at the same time. That's a great way to go broke. So I tend to run ads to content that is primarily around getting new clients into my academy, right? Does anybody have any I wanna just pause for a moment and ask, does anybody have any questions about anything that I have said so far? And I just wanted to check my notes really quickly and make sure I've, uh, talked about other things. I know evergreen, that was, like, the soapbox that I really wanted to stand up on today is, um is that. But then I also wanted to talk about launching too. Let's see. Evergreen, launch timeline, we talked about that, which is 90 days minimum. We talked about creating your offers, right? We talked about needing to understand the demographics, like who you're working with, that sort of thing. Um, that's audience analysis. Let's see, we've talked about that. Creating the marketing materials, we talked about that. That's like your sales page. That's your booking page. That's your high value content that's going to go out. That's evergreen or timeless now, I guess is what they're calling it. We talked a little bit about the running the ads. Oh, and then another thing that you can do too is that this is going to be really, really a big part of it is building up your own network of people that you go on their podcast and you go on their Instagram or whatever. You do collaborations with people because you're not gonna, the truth is, and I understand this is hard for introverted people. I'm super introverted. Like I would rather just, I'm a hermit. I would rather just be by myself and work by myself all the time. But I've really come to appreciate doing collaborations and working with people that I really feel aligned with because what it does is it you get introduced to their audience. So we're all out here like creating our audiences, right? I have my audience. You have your audience. They have their audience. They have their audience. And so we're all out here just plugging away, building up this audience, right? But when we merge forces and come together, we get introduced to new pockets of audiences. So when you do, like, say, a podcast with someone else, and they have a 500 people or 1,000 people or 10,000 subscribers on their YouTube, that's a free way, a cheap way to get yourself in front of 1,000 new people instantly, right? And so if you've done launching for a while or if you've tried to build your audience up for a while, networking is the fastest way that you will ever build up an audience because you're basically going on their shows, giving your value, and in exchange for that, they get to, advertise you to their audience and things like that. So that is like the best hack, the best way that you can possibly get in front of new people without having to pay for ads. And so that's why some of these podcasts, they charge you like $100 or $200 to go on. And sometimes that's how that is. And so you kind of have to think, would it be easier for me to just pay $100 to go on this person's podcast that has 25,000 listeners than try to put $100 on ads on my own content over the next year and see, how quickly we could build those things up. So you got to be really smart. You got to be smart. You got to think about different ways that you can be more efficient with how you're paying to get in front of people. Okay. I think we pretty much talked about everything I really wanted to talk about. So shifting, one more thing, and then I'll let you guys go. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is just as equally important to shifting to evergreen content is shifting to seasonal content. That means building content and programs and offers that relate to what's going on collectively. So, and that could be following like mainstream, but it could also be following witchy or some other kind of niche sort of interest. So let me explain. Um, so, for example, Christmas is this week. Well, what's really popular around Christmas? Positivity, angels, spirit guides. People just want to feel good, right? Also, mediumship to connect with people that they won't have around this Christmas. So if you were smart, you'd be putting out some offers for people that relate to what's going on. What are the collective reasons why people are seeking and searching spiritual advice and help right now during this period of time and putting those out? And you really want to get ahead of it. Like you really want to get it out like at least a month ahead. Like right now, you might get 1 or 2 sales, but it's more or less too late. Like, you should have been doing that on the 1st of this month, right? If you wanna get ahead of Valentine's Day, start getting your Valentine's Day offers together. Start creating Valentines and love, self-love, or even just finding your soulmate, finding your twin flame. Get that kind of starting now. Get that content together for Valentine's Day, so that way you have a whole 30 days of where the algorithm is, like, cataloging, archiving your content and being like, "Oh, this is good content. We'll push this closer to Valentine's Day," right? And so maybe during Valentine's Day, your ad strategy is to push content that is related to love, self-love. Again, it's another one of positivity. Moving into new year, get yourself out there, some new year, new you, new year tarot readings, okay, which is new year type of stuff. You could get that out. You could, if you do health and wellness, maybe you have like a weight loss program that you want to push. January 1st, guess what? We're all making resolutions. So if your content or your coaching is based around people making big transformations in their life, right? Or sticking to certain habits and things like that, January 1st, that's your launch date, right? You really want to start creating content for that now. Um, we also have, I'll give you another one. We also have St. Patrick's Day coming up. That's in March. Well, St. Patrick's Day, psychically, what does the lucky clover represent? What's it represent? Luck, abundance, prosperity, right? So maybe there are some readings that you could put out that's based around helping people like finding out why they're not so lucky and helping them to get lucky, like just as a lucky person, just like, or it could be spell work around manifesting new opportunities, new job, new promotions, things like that, right? Attracting money, it could be money mindset related. So look at what is going on seasonally because these, think about it. Like if you create a program one time, like for me, for example, I for Valentine's Day, I have my Twin Flame Soulmate series that I have on YouTube. So what I'm gonna do starting January 1st is I'm gonna start boosting those videos. I'm gonna start putting like a couple bucks on each of those videos so that when people are and they all have a call to action on those videos to purchase my how to give tarot readings for love and relationships, my workshop that's like $20 or something like that. So that's how I'm going to be getting new people to purchase that because I'm going to be boosting my Soulmate Twin Flame series that talks about, what is that process? What are soulmates and twin flames? And then how to do that, how to do those types of readings, right? So does that make sense? Seasonal, evergreen, right? Seasonal, ads. Those are the 3 key areas in which you'll be able to get off the hamster wheel of launching. You'll be able to take a step back, you'll be able to have more time for yourself, right? And so then you'll be able to just kind of not so much worry about everything else and just maybe worry about filling up a couple one-on-one spots here and there, right? But your days are yours. You don't have to sit at your computer for a couple hours every day or every week trying to hustle to get new clients in. So that is how we do it smarter. So I would love to know, what did you learn? What did you really like about this one? I really would love to learn a little bit about like where's everybody at in launching? So if you're in the Discord, please make sure you go in and answer my question of the day on Discord. Have you been through a launch? Because I would love to really help you guys figure out how to launch your business because I think that was a eye-opening for me this morning when a lot of people are like, I don't know if I've launched. So that tells me that that's like a stone that I've left unturned, that I need to create something or I need to help you guys in that regard if that makes sense. So I hope that you have an amazing Yule, Christmas, Hanukkah, holidays, whatever it is that you celebrate. I hope that you'll be able to be around some good people, some positive people. I hope you'll be able to get your hands on some good yummy foods and maybe do something a little bit nice for yourself and just get some rest, you know? I really hope that you all get some rest. And if there are no more questions for today, then I would love to invite you over to the Discord channel. Let me get y'all that link just real quick. I really want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to come into the Discord because the Discord's finally really starting to kick off. So I have in Discord, it's free. It's actually free. It's free for everybody. You can come in, and what I've done is on the 31st, I'm going to be closing the Psychic Hotline School group and the Profitable Psychic Academy Lounge group. I'm going to be closing those groups on Facebook because they're just not what they used to be, and there's just too many things, too many places, too many things. And so the Discord has now really become like the one place where you can access everything besides the actual Academy website in just one easy place, right? And so we have just free for everybody. You can come in. There's chat rooms. I'm slowly transferring over my content over to the Discord, adding all that kind of stuff, creating new content. There's now exclusive content within the Discord. And then if you would like to get actually like help on a weekly basis, it's like $30 a month or so, depending on where you live. Um, but I have it set to where you can subscribe to the Discord channel for like $20, $30, depends on where you live. And you can get weekly check-ins with me. And I'm also starting to release exclusive articles, like brand new articles that I'm writing, putting it over there. And those are all going to be branding focused and they're all going to be client attraction focused, right? So that's really exciting. And that's going to be like new for 2025. So yeah, I really highly recommend that you guys come over into the Discord and it's really not as hard to use as all that. Think about it as like an old school forum where you just have like chat rooms for each individual thing. Just spend some time like investigating, looking around. And if there's anything that you guys would like me to add to the Discord, or I was thinking about maybe we could add some clubs or something like that, like tarot club or witchy club or something like that, where it's a little bit more focused on like what people are doing so that you can connect with other people that are like tarot readers. You can connect with other people that are professional witches. You can connect with other people that are into yoga or something like that. So, like helping you guys build up that network that you can do these collaborations with and connect with people because it is so important. That's a really important aspect of building up your brand. Yeah, I know. Come join us. Come join us. We have cookies. So I've I've got to figure out. We're probably gonna do something like try to figure out how to get people in. I was thinking I might do some after the podcast is over. I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll do some exclusive lives over there and just do like some business assessments and things like that. So we'll figure it out. But that's a problem for next year, right? That's for next year. I hope you guys get some rest. Merry Christmas, Happy Yule. I'll see you guys in 2025. Bye.